soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, oh, make it make sense. Baking soda's only 99 cents. It's hard to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, oh, make it make sense, yeah. You see, the money is a motive. Repeat my history, crack cocaine is like the motif. It's plain and simple, way back then my mother hustled. It's in my blood, so I feel like it's time to grind, just like the times when niggas lied. Hold up, back then was the bad days, motherfuckers push mad weight. I was a crack baby, tell me nothing about my mother and the struggle. See, I love it in the smoke, trying to smoke when she hustle. Selling everything in the house, goddamn. She ain't give a damn about the spouse, goddamn. So my oldest brother had to man up, had to take care of us in the piece with 4 kids. The one on the way with no clip, no food in the fridge, on some coke shit. Got food stamps from the neighbors. Ty work ain't ask no favors. Late night he was shot bodegas. Over bread and some meat, some mayo. Kool-Aid had about 4 flavors. And when Ty went to cash out, Aki lashed out. Told him he'd take food stamps. $15 for that kid. Fuck all that shit. Then the young nigga noticed that it could be the coldest. Take back what they owed us. Whole world on the shoulders. No food in the kitchen but the stove work. $10 in the sack and he pointed to the back. Say, let me get that soda. 99 cents. It's hard to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, oh, make it make sense. Baking soda's only 99 cents. It's hard to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, oh, make it make sense, yeah.
So let me get this shit straight. So I gotta go take out loans to go to school, to get a job, just to pay for the loans I took out in the first place. I'm looking at this arm and hammer like I should have a hammer in my arm right goddamn now. Shit ain't make no sense. Lord, make it make sense. Goddamn.
Baking soda's only 99 cents. Hey, it's hard to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, oh, make it make sense. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Only 99. It's hard to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, oh, make it make sense, yeah.
Shalom Israel. Yahweh Shem Shabbat to all the brothers. Yahweh Shema Thab Hashem Shah to all the Akwathim, all the sisters. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. And I'm priest and officer of 50 Sharia 1. And today is Friday night's Lashawan Qadash class. It's Friday night Lashawan Qadash class. This is the language that our ancestors spoke. This is the language that Adam from the beginning was speaking. Yahweh Shemar Thab Hashem Shai sis, so the water for tuning in. This is the language that our ancestors spoke before, of course, all the captivities that they went through. And throughout the time, we started speaking different dialects of Hebrew. And today we speak the bastard tongue. Most of us speaking English or Spanish. Those are the languages we speak today. But we're going to learn the language that our ancestors spoke from the beginning. Lashawan Qadash, meaning the holy tongue, right? Today we say language, but back then we would have called it a tongue. This is the tongue that we speak, right? And so, like all of our classes, we're going to start off with the Hebrew alphabet. We use, in the ancient tongue, we use pictographs as our letters. So we wouldn't have called them letters. They're actually called characters. And we're going to start off going through the characters. All right. We'll do the characters of the ancient tongue. It's important for brothers and sisters to learn as well the Assyrian. That's what most of our Hebrew manuscripts were written in because of the Babylonian captivity. So we're going to learn that, and that's going to help us to translate a lot of those Hebrew words so that we can understand it, both in English, and we'll learn how to say those words in our ancient tongue. All right? So all brothers and sisters, it's a good thing to practice this. Practice it daily if you can. It only takes maybe a minute or so just to write out the characters, right? At the top, we'll do ours, the ancient tongue. And at the bottom, we'll do the Assyrian. If you're just watching for the first time, take notes so you can write this down in your notebook, and then you can go off and practice this on your own. So first we got an Those are the first 6 characters. We got a ba, a ga, da, ha, wa. And in the Assyrian, it would look like this. Right? So this would be the ba, ga, da, ha, and a wa. Give you guys a minute to write that down. That's how you would pronounce it. Abagadaha wa. After a wa, you'd have a za. is the next characters to our language. After the wa, you have a za, ka, ta, ya, ka, la. This is what they would look like at the top in the ancient tongue. Draw it again. And at the bottom, we got the Assyrian. This is the Assyrian. So in the Assyrian, we actually have 5 characters that have 2 different symbols. And we use the symbol on the bottom every time this character ends at the end of a word. All right, give you guys a minute to write that down. So the next ones would be za, ka, ta, ya, ka, la. So after the la, we have a ma. Looks like this. Ma, na, sa, I. The I is the one character that doesn't end in an A. That's the only character that's like that. When we pronounce it, it's the only one that doesn't end in an A. Every other character in our ancient tongue ends in an A. So we got mana, sa, I. We have a pa. A taza. And then the Assyrian. That's the Assyrian. So these last 5 characters are the last 5 that have 2 characters. The ma, the na, the pa, and the taza. Give you guys a sec to write that down. And we can practice this every day, right? You can practice pronouncing it. So you pick it up. Abagadaha, wazakataya, kalamanasa, I, pa, tazaka, rashata. Right? We do that every day so that we can learn to read. We can learn to read the Hebrew and pronounce the Hebrew. Right? You practice that every day, you'll get better at it. And the last ones, we did a taza, we got a kwa, ra, sha, tha. Those are the last characters. A kwa, a ra, sha, tha. Kwa, ra, sha, tha. And the Assyrian, kwa is like a little R, a capital R almost. The ra looks like a 7. The sha, it's like a fancy W. And the tha almost looks like the ha, except there's no space up here. Kwa, ra, sha, tha. And that's for all the characters. That's it for all the characters. So like I said, write that down, get it in your notes. You can practice that every day. You got a 3-year-old who does it every day. He can read the Hebrew. I mean, it just takes a little practice. So in the last class, in the last week's Lashawan Qadash class, we did some prepositions. We're going to do that same thing again today, just so everybody can get it in your notes, practice it. Once you start getting these down, we'll be able to start speaking sentences, putting phrases together. It's very important and very key in learning to speak the Hebrew. Okay? So we'll start with possessive adjectives. They're possessive adjectives. Let's do so these are possessive adjectives. Today we're going to use, we'll use the word Abba. Right? Down the road we'll start learning words in the Hebrew. And then we'll be able to put these possessive adjectives together with it, right? So the word we'll do today, we'll do Abba. Right? Abba means father. The word Abba means father. So these are possessive adjectives. Okay. We have Nawa, which means our. We have Ya, which is my. And remember, these possessive adjectives, you'll always put these characters at the end of a word. Okay? Possessive adjectives come at the end of a word. Right? And it's letting you know that this word belongs to someone. Right? It's possessive. It belongs to someone. So you got Ya, you got Ka, you got Wa. And Ha. We'll do these ones first. So Ka, it would be like your. Your or yo. Wa would be his. And Ha would be her. Okay? So what this looks like when you form the word, Abanawa would be look like that. This is how it would look like in our characters. Pronounce it Abanawa. Right? Abanawa. Look like this. Abanawa. Right. And these connectors here, these are called connectors. They let you know how to pronounce a word. Okay? Next one would be yeah. So the first one we got is Abanawa. It means our father. The next one we have here is Abaya, which means my father. Abaya is my father. Abaka, be your father. Abba-ka means your father. Abba-wa means his father. And the last one here, we have Abba-ha. Abba-ha. That means her father. Go ahead and write all that down so you can put that in your notes. These are possessive adjectives. Our father, my father, your father, his father, and her father. Okay? So those were possessive pronouns. Now we're going to do prepositions. Okay? Prep meaning pre, before. Okay? Or in the beginning. We're going to see these in the beginning of a word. Okay? Oh, Salakia. We're going to do a couple more. I missed a couple. Salakia. We're going to do a couple more possessive. Before we get into prepositions, we'll do a couple more possessive. Possessive. Slovakia. So we were doing possessive adjectives. We got a couple more. We got calm. Calm. This is another way to say your, but this is masculine. Okay? This is if you're referring to a couple brothers. It's used for masculine, right? Calm. It's masculine, and it means your. Okay? Calm is masculine, it means your. If you're talking to a bunch of brothers, right? So we're still using that word Abba. Right? Abba, which means father. So we would say Abba Kam. meaning your father or your father. Right? And then we got the feminine way. It would be Khan. You would say Abba Khan. It would be the feminine. And we have Ma. And this is a masculine way of saying there. And this would be the feminine way. Na would be feminine for saying there. Okay? So you got Kam, which is masculine. Khan, which is feminine. Then you have Ma, which is masculine for there. And Na, which is feminine for there. Right? Abba Ma. Abba Ma and Abba Na. Go ahead and write those down. Make sure you keep those in your notes. Abba Khan, your father. Abba Ma, their father. Right? And there's going to be some words that have possessive pronouns or prepositions, and some of those words are they're both feminine and masculine, right? They would be in context of speaking to both sexes, but in the Hebrew, it's in our culture that the man is above the woman, right? So anytime you would see a word where it's referring to a multitude of people that includes both men and women, you would see the masculine word for it. All right? Shalom, Officer Zabadia. Shalom, Adawan, Yahbashim, Shabrak, the water for tuning in. So these are the last of your possessive adjectives. Okay? Okay, so Salakia, like I said, now we're going to do prepositions. Okay? Prepositions. Prepositions. Prepositions, they are they're before, at the beginning. Okay? Start from the beginning of our alphabet. First, we got A. Okay. A would be I am, or I. I or I am. That would be A. Okay. Next, we got Ba. Ba is in. Ba is in. Then we have Da. Da is do. The next one we got is Ha, which means the. Okay. We'll mix up these words this time. So Aparium would be Aparium. Parium is fruitful. You put the A in front of it. You got I am fruitful. So when we're doing the Lord's Prayer, some of these words, they're a little lengthy. And the reason they're lengthy is because they have either these prepositions or the possessive adjectives in the word. That's why some of these words look a little lengthy. Okay? So Ba is in. This means in earth. All right. The next one we have is Da, which means do. This is a word a lot of Akim are familiar with. All right, brothers and sisters in the I.S.U.P.K, we say this word a lot, Tawab. Right? Tawab means good. So if we put a Da in front of that, would mean do good. All right. Hey, shalom, sis. Yahweh Shemar al-Thah b'Hashem al-Shai. Salaki, Yahweh Shemar al-Thah b'Hashem al-Shai. Thank you for tuning in. All right. I posted the sign-in link. Everybody can sign in. So we got aparium, which means I am fruitful. Ba'arataza, which is in earth. Da tawab means do good. The next one we got is ha. This would look something like, what we got? Ha Malakwa, right? Malakwa means kingdom, right? So we put a ha in front of it, it would be the kingdom. Go ahead and put those in your notes. Okay, we got just a couple more we'll go through. Next class, we'll go through it a little faster. But right now, we're just trying to get the basics down. These prepositions and possessive pronouns or possessive adjectives, these are all good to know. Okay, we need to know these. So we finished with the kingdom. Okay. The next one we got is calm. Or Slovakia. Prepositions. He just did Hamalakwa, the kingdom. So we got Wa. That would be the next one. After Ha would be Wa. Write all these down. We got Wa, a Ka, a La, and a Ma. Right? So Wa would be as. As or like. Oh, Slovakia. Wa is and. Slovakia for that. Wa is and. Okay? Ka is as or like. And then La is to. And Ma Wa is of or from. So for the preposition here, we're going to use the word power. We got a wa in front, and then we got a ha. Right? Like I was saying, this is how some of these words get a little lengthy. Right? Waha Allah. Waha Allah. Right? Wa meaning and. Ha is the. Like we wrote down earlier. Waha Allah. And the power. This one's a little longer. Right? We got a ka, a sa, and a nawa. Right? Ka is as. Go to we. As we forgive. Right? These are how some of these words come together. Ka sa lak nawa. Ka sa lak nawa. Right? And that would be one word. That one was as we forgive. The next one we got is Allah. Right? This one's a simple one. Ka is to. Laka just means to you. Right? So we showed before the ka is like a preposition. Right? you is possessive, right? That word you, that's possessive. Ka, you. You put a la in front of it, to you, right? That's a simple one. It's just to show how you can put all these together, right? And the last one we got here, ma, of or from. So these are all possessives and all prepositions, right? You have ma, which is of or from. You got a ya. Ya is me or my. La is to. And ka is you. Right? These are ways you can put these words together. Maya laka, from me to you. Maya laka. All right. We did ma. We're gonna do two more. We got sha and tha. These are the last two. Sha and tha. Sha would be whom or which. That or pertaining to. Okay? Right? The English language is very confusing. Right? Every English teacher that teaches it knows it's confusing. So a lot of these words in the Hebrew, we have one word, right? It's a lot more simplified, easy to understand, not as confusing, right? So Shah would be words like whom, which, that, or pertaining to. And then Tha would be this, thou, or thee. All right? So I'll give an example for the sha, and then we'll do one example for tha. Okay? Sha. We have Shabbat Shemayim. Right? We say this in the Lord's Prayer. This is how Christ told us to pray. This is a word we find in that prayer. We got Shabbat Shemayim. Right? Shemayim is heaven. Shemayim is heaven. Shah. In this case, we see it in the English like this, which. The ba is in. So it would look like this, which hurts. So it could be like, whom is in heaven? Whom is in heaven? That which is in heaven, right? Which art in heaven. That's Shabbat Shemayim. And then the last one, right? This is the last preposition. We got tha. We got this word here. Yes, sir. Water. We add a tha in front of it. Looks like that. Tha, water, right? Means thank thee. Right? Thank thee, thank thou. And those are all the prepositions that we have. So we went through possessives and we went through prepositions. All right? Keep those for your notes. All right. So the next thing we're going to get into, how to spell words. All right? Just going to do some spelling. All right? So if you get yourself a Zondervan's Pictorial Bible Dictionary, this is where we get, this is some history on the characters in our language. So the Bible Pictorial Bible Dictionary says, for the word Hebrew, it's traditionally considered designations for Abraham and his descendants, especially through Jacob, the equivalent of Israelite. 1 Samuel 14:21 may suggest that the terms are to be equated. Jews quite uniformly have used Israel and the children of Israel in referring to themselves, finding in such terminology treasured religious and national association. Foreigners thought of them as Hebrews, and they so identified themselves in speaking to non-Jews. Also in context involving constraints, same phenomenon appears. One must reckon, however, with the possibility that in the Old Testament times, the names Hebrew, Habiru, were forms of the same word. Okay, so this Hebrew language, with the exception of Aramaic, Hebrew is the language of the Old Testament. The term Hebrew was first used as designation for individuals or people, and only later denoted a language. The Old Testament refers to the language not as Hebrew, but as the language of Canaan. Josephus, Ecclesiasticus, and the New Testament, however, speak of it as Hebrew, with close affinity to Ugaritic and Phoenician, Moabitic, and the Canaanite dialects. All right? And so these different dialects, these were the different characters that they used. All right? This should just give you an idea of the different characters that we use, okay? Right? This is just a chart. Right? This is the Phoenician here. And those were some of the characters that we had, right? And I'll just show you. This is a Gezer calendar. It was the earliest extant written document of ancient Israel. It is a school exercise tablet from the time of Solomon. All right. And you can just see some of our characters there, right? Those are all from the ancient language, right? The ancient tongue. That's our language. That's the language that we're learning to speak again, all right? So we're going to go over some spelling of words. And the first one we're going to go over you can find this in a concordance, right? It's H7999. And it's Shalom. can look that word up. It's H7999. And in the Assyrian, when you look at it in your concordance, you'll see it like this. So Shah, Shalom. All right. That's what you're going to find in your concordance. You got a Shah, Allah, and a Ma. Yeah. Shah, La, Ma. And we pronounce it Shalom. All right. This is how it would look in the ancient tongue. Shalom. Now, there's a couple different strongs for this word. For example, there's some brothers, I wouldn't say brothers, there's some people that are teaching that this word is actually like this, Shalom. Now, I'm guessing, I'm not 100% sure where they get this, but I'm assuming they're looking at, in the Strong's Concordance, they're looking at this word, in the Strong's, it's H7965. Right? Now, in the Israelite school of UPK, we have Hebrew scholars that have translated all these words. They broke all these words down. So when we tell you it's shalom, believe it. All right. I'll show you guys the Strong's, right? You can get yourself a Strong's exhaustive concordance. And if you look at H7999, you'll see the word shalom. All right. And that word means to be safe in mind, body, or estate, completed, to be friendly, to reciprocate, to make amends, to end, finish, full, give again, make good. That is perfection. All right. Now, it also lets you know it's the primitive root. Okay, this is the root word. Now, if you look at the other word, let me spell it out. sometimes you'll see it in our manuscripts where it says how do they spell it? Where it would look like that. Right? Now, in the Assyrian language, which is a broken down version of our language, not the original language, they added vowels into their language. Right? So some of their words, when you see them spelled out, they look differently. Right? And some of the way that you translate words, in the Hebrew, they don't make sense. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So now, this word, shalom, which is H7965, if you take a look up here, you'll see it says from 7999, right? They get this word from the root word from H7999, which is shalom. Now, if there's any brothers or sisters that think that shalom means peace, somebody needs to explain what this word is. And I'll give you an example of how this looks, of another word. Shamar, right? Shamar means watch. Shamar means watch. Now, if you put this character here, the wa, on the inside of that word, you would get watching, right? Shamar is watch. Shawamar is watching. Now, if you use that same word peace, and you tried to spell it like this, that would say peacing. This doesn't make sense. If you understand Hebrew, Shalom would be peacing. When you greet people, you don't say hi-in or hello-in. Hello-in doesn't make sense. Peacing doesn't make sense. You just say peace. All right? So shalom. This is the correct spelling of shalom. All right? It's just shalom. All right. 120. All right. We're gonna go over a couple of words. This is how I started getting better. I wouldn't say good, but this is how I started getting better at spelling. So I start off by just pronouncing the word, right? So if you have a word like Yah-ha, Yahawah, Da. This is how I pronounce the word, right? Yahawada. Now, if you're a brother who's a trooper in the school, or you're a young man in the school, take notes on this because this is going to help you in the future. So this word, Yahawada. If you can get the pronunciation down, you can learn to spell out the words. All right? The only thing you have to learn is what a connector is. So once you learn your once you learn your alphabet and you learn how to pronounce each of the characters, the next thing you're going to learn is connectors. And all a connector is, it lets you know if a character is joined together or if it's single. So if it's like a frown, that just means it's single. If you got like a smiley face, it means it's joined. It means your characters will be joined. Okay? So you got a word that says Yahawada. If you can pronounce that, you know it starts with a Ya. So you would just draw out the Ya or the Ya character. Right? Slovakia. You draw out the Ya character. When we're writing, everything in Hebrew is right to left. So you would put a Ya. You have a Ha. You have a Wa. You have a Da. Now in this case, that H is silent, so words like this are a little harder to remember. But if you can remember how to spell it in the English, and you can remember how to pronounce it, you know when two characters connect. So Da, right? If it didn't connect, it would say Yahawadaha, right? Because you have a Ha at the end. But because it connects, you don't pronounce last character. You don't pronounce the A. So it's just Da. It's connected. So you have a Ya, Ha, Wa, and a Da. Ya, Ha, Wa, Da. These connect. All right. Now, also, when we're translating words from the Assyrian, right, into our ancient tongue, into our ancient language, all you have to do, if you have a Blue Letter Bible app, I highly recommend every brother get that. So this is how it would look. I got mine on my phone. Right? And if you have a Blue Letter Bible app, you can get something called the interlinear, and you can look up the words. So this word right here, Judah, if you can see that. If I click on that word Judah, it lets me know that it's the Strong's H3063, and I can pull up the information on that word. Right? So when you look up that word Judah, this is in the book of Genesis, chapter 29 and verse 35. That word Judah is Strong's. It's Strong's H3063. H3063. And I can see how that word is spelled, right? They have a Ya, Ha, Wa, Da, and a Ha. All right? That's Strong's H3063. That's how they spell it in the Assyrian. You have a Ya, a Ha, Wa, a Da, and a Ha. All right? That's how we translate words. Now, like I said, some words, because in that bastard language that Amalek, those fake Jews speak, they have vowels. So sometimes the words are a little different, right? And if you ever have any questions, you can contact one of the men of the Lord in the I.S.U.P.K, and they will help you get the proper translation for that word, okay? So this is Strong's H306, Yahawada, which means Judah. All right? So next we're gonna go to Genesis 35 and 18. Genesis 35 and verse 18. And this is the first time we see that word Benjamin. All right? This is Strong's H1144. Genesis, where we go? 35 and 18. Find it in Genesis 35 and 18. This is Benjamin. Right? Judah is your so-called Negroes today. The world classifies as Negroes. And then we have Benjamin. Right? These are your Caribbean brothers, your brothers from the West Indies. So the Strongs for this, they spell it no. Now, when you look in your Strongs, they have something called, this would be typed. Or sorry, when you read it on your Strongs on a computer, that would be, this is like the printed version of Assyrian would be on your application. So when you see me write it out, it looks a little different. This is the handwriting of the Assyrian, okay? Or the printed, this is me handwriting it, right? So it just looks a little different. But they have the, if we translate it, they have the ba. This is a na. That's a ya. A ma. A ya. And a na. Right? Now, how you pronounce that is ban, yam, yan. Ban, yam, yan. If you can remember this, you'll have no problem spelling it out. Because of the way it's pronounced, ban, you know you have a ba and a na. So you would write out the characters of ba and a na. Because you're not saying ba na, you know these are connected. All right? The next part is yam, which means you know you have a ya and a ma. So you would spell out the ya and a ma. And because you pronounce it yam, you know this connects. And the last part, we pronounce it yan. So you would put a ya and a na, and you know these connect. Ban, yam, yan. Right? So I'll do one more Strong's, and then we'll just practice pronouncing and spelling words out. All right? Do one more Strong's. Check out Genesis 29 and 34. Genesis 29 and 34 in your blue letter Bible. 29 and 34. Is that right? 34. And this is the first time you see the word Levi. So the Strong's for Levi is H3878. All right. You open the Strong's definition of it, or your Strong's concordance. The word Levi means joined to. All right. This is the third son of Jacob. And in the Strongs, they spell it with a la, a wa, and a ya. Like I say, this is me handwriting it, so it looks a little different from the type version, right? You got a la, wa, and a ya. La, wa, and a ya, right? So we read right to left, right? You have a la, wa, and a ya. Now, how we translate that in our ancient tongue, we have a la, a wa, and a ya. Now, we pronounce this word like this. Loy, ya. Loy, ya. So because it's not la wa ya, it's loy, ya. The la and the wa connect, and the ya is singular. All right. All right, so I'll try to go through a couple a little faster, and then we'll end the class for today. So we got Simeon. So we got Simeon. You pronounce it Sha-mai-wan. Like I say, if you know how to pronounce it, you should have an easy time spelling it. So we got a Sha, a Ma, an I, a Wa, and a Na. Right? And we just got to know how to connect it. So a Sha is singular, the Mai is connected, and Wan is connected. We got Zebulon, which is pronounced Za, Ba, La, Wan. If you can remember how to pronounce it out, you should have no problem spelling it. Right? So Za, Ba, La, Wan would be a Za, Ba, La, Wan. The Za would be singular, Ba would be singular, the La is singular, and the Wa and the Na connect. That's Ephraim. We got Ephraim. We got Ephraim, Manasseh. Good. So Ephraim is Aparayam. Ah, Pa. All right. Yep. Aparayam, which would be the Pa, a Ra, a Ya, and a Ma. All right. Next, we got Manasseh, which is Ma, Na, Sha. That's how it goes. Yep. Ma, Na, Sha. So you got a Ma, a Na, a Sha, and a Ha. All right. That H at the end is silent. So like I said, some of these words, when it ends in H, it's a little harder to remember. But it just takes a little practice, right? This is Ma, Na, Sha. So you got a Ma, Na, Sha, Ha. And it's pronounced Ma, Na, Sha. Next we got Gad. We say God in the English. In the ancient tongue, say God, God. Right? Almost like G-O-D, God, God, God. And that's just a Ga and a Da, and they connect. So Ephraim is Aparayam, Manasseh is Manashah, and Gad is God. We got four more. Reuben. So Reuben, I don't know why, but this is my favorite word to say. You got Ra, Ban, Ra, Ban. Right? That's our ancient tongue. Now this is another one that's a little hard to remember because it's silent. And you have a ah and a wa that connects. It might be a little harder to remember that the wa is there. Ra, Ban would be a Ra, wa, ba, and a na. That would be singular. Ra, that connects, and Ban connects. Ra, Ban. Asher is Ashar. Ashar. You have a Shah, and a Ra. The is singular, and the Shah connects. For the Shah and the Ra connect. Next, you got Naphtali. And you pronounce it Na. That's fine, I'll leave it. Na, Pa, Thal, and a Ya. Na, Pa, Thal, Ya. So first we got a Na, then a Pa, then a Tha. Oh, what's a Tha? That's a Ta. Hold on. Sorry. Like that, a Tha, then a La. Na, Pa, Tha, La, Ya. That's pronounced Na, Pa, Thal. That's connected. And a Ya. All right. And the last one, you got our Mexican brothers. And this is pronounced Yash, Shah, Kar. Yash, Shah, Kar. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters here. First, you got a Yah, then a Shah, then a Shah, then a Ka, and a Ra. And so the Yah and the Shah connect. The Shah is singular, and the Ka and the Ra connect. We got a little time left. I'll just show you the Strongs for this. You can find it in Genesis 30 and 18. And it's Strong's H3485. And how it looks in the Assyrian. All right, that's the Assyrian for it. All right. So go ahead and write those down, get that copied. And with that, that's the end of our time for today. So we're going to give the security announcements, and then we're going to salute out. All right? Let's clap it up. That's the end of that class. All right, that's the end of the Hebrew. So these are the security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K. Start out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find it in Numbers 18:21 and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 to 10. Ma'ashra, which means 10th in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests is not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocations. Our next feast, which you can find in Leviticus 23, is a feast of first fruits. Feast of first fruits, which is on Monday, June 21st of this year. Monday, June 21st, that's a feast of first fruits. If you're a brother or sister in Canada, ask Officer of 500 Zabadia, who's in charge of the high holy days. Or you can speak to your camp leader, which is Officer of 5,000 Aban if you're in Canada. And with that, we're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers. And one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Imajim, which means stand in the Hebrew. Imajim Shabbat. Imajim, Barak, Yah Bashim Yah Shai Barakatham, to all the brothers. Yad Yam Matah. Gonna give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat. Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Shamar Alatha Bashim Yah Shai. Yad Yam Matah. Class dismissed.